Title: The Catalyst of Chaos. The desperate decision. In the year 2025, the war in Ukraine had reached a critical point. Russian forces, facing relentless resistance and mounting losses, were on the brink of collapse. President Vladimir Ivanov, a hardliner with a reputation for ruthlessness, saw his grip on power slipping. The coalition forces were closing in on Moscow, and the threat of defeat loomed large. In a final, desperate bid to turn the tide, Ivanov made a fateful decision. In a secret bunker deep beneath the Kremlin, Ivanov convened his top military advisors. The room was tense, the air thick with the weight of impending doom. "We cannot afford to lose," Ivanov declared, his voice cold and resolute. "If we fall, Russia falls. We must show the world our strength." After hours of heated debate, the decision was made. A single, tactical nuclear missile would be launched, targeting a key military installation of the coalition forces. The hope was that this show of force would shock the world into submission, forcing the coalition to negotiate. On a cold, clear night, the missile was prepared for launch. The countdown began, each second ticking away like a heartbeat. In the control room, the tension was palpable. Finally, the order was given, and the missile roared into the sky, leaving a trail of fire and smoke. The world watched in horror as news of the launch spread. The missile struck its target with devastating precision, obliterating the military installation and causing massive casualties. The coalition forces were stunned, but their resolve only hardened. They knew they could not let this act of aggression go unanswered. Within hours, the coalition responded. A barrage of nuclear missiles was launched, targeting key Russian cities and military bases. The skies lit up with fire and destruction, and the world was plunged into chaos. The initial strikes were followed by a relentless exchange of nuclear firepower, each side determined to outlast the other. The devastation was unimaginable. Cities were reduced to rubble, millions of lives were lost, and the very fabric of society began to unravel. The nuclear winter that followed cast a dark pall over the planet, blocking out the sun and plunging temperatures to deadly lows. The nuclear exchange had far-reaching consequences. Radiation spread across borders, contaminating land and water. The global economy collapsed as trade routes were disrupted and resources became scarce. Governments struggled to maintain order, and civil unrest erupted in many countries. International organizations scrambled to provide aid, but the scale of the disaster was overwhelming. Refugees fled the affected areas, seeking safety in regions that were already struggling to cope with their own crises. The world was on the brink of a humanitarian catastrophe. In the aftermath of the nuclear exchange, the world was a shadow of its former self. The once great nations lay in ruins, their populations decimated by radiation and starvation. The survivors faced a harsh, unforgiving landscape, where the remnants of civilization struggled to rebuild. Amid the chaos, small pockets of humanity clung to life. In underground bunkers and remote outposts, they worked to preserve what little they could of their cultures and knowledge. The lessons of the past were etched into their memories, a stark reminder of the cost of war and the fragility of peace. Years passed, and slowly, the world began to heal. The skies cleared, and the sun once again shone upon the earth. The survivors emerged from their shelters, determined to rebuild and create a new world from the ashes of the old. In this new dawn, humanity vowed never to repeat the mistakes of the past. The horrors of World War III served as a grim reminder of the destructive power of nuclear weapons and the importance of diplomacy and cooperation. The nations of the world came together, forging new alliances and working towards a future of peace and prosperity. The story of the catalyst of chaos became a cautionary tale, passed down through generations as a reminder of the thin line between peace and annihilation. And so, the world moved forward, forever changed by the events that had nearly brought it to the brink of destruction.